Hello, Pewter people. Scott Reynolds here with another Pewter Pulse. After the Bucks Week 1 win against the Commanders, I did a Pewter Pulse video that stated that a running back controversy might be brewing because rookie Bucky Irving outrushed Rachaad White in the season opener. I caught a lot of flack for that. Didn't mean to create a controversy and wasn't trying to stir the pot. I had just been to nearly every training camp practice and I was believing what my eyes were seeing back in August. Bucky Irving was special. Now, you all have seen what I got a sneak preview of back in camp. I'll get into Bucky Irving more in this Pewter Pulse in just a minute, but first, a reminder to hit the thumbs up button, give us a like. Also, leave a comment. No need to send me a Christmas present. Just do those two things. I'd appreciate it. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. It gets us in front of more awesome Bucks fans like you. So let's talk about Bucky Irving, or Bucky, as the Tampa Bay fans chant at Raymond James Stadium. What's the old saying? It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. That certainly applies to the Bucks' undersized rookie running back, a true underdog, if you will. You know, I have to give my good friend and former Pewter reporter and PFF draft guru Trevor Sikkema credit for this one. He was super high on Bucky Irving coming out of the Oregon football program in the draft. He loved Irving's ability to make defenders miss and felt like that translated to the NFL despite the smallish 5'9", 192-pound frame. And as a lifelong Bucks fan, Trevor was thrilled to see one of his favorite draft prospects get drafted by Tampa Bay. You know, the NFL isn't about 80-yard runs. It's about 8-yard runs and 18-yard runs. Those are successful runs for running backs in the NFL. There's no wide side of the field in the NFL like there is in college due to the hash mark placements. Plus, running backs aren't out racing redshirt sophomores who take bad angles. They're trying to break off big runs against professional athletes who take proper angles and make tackles like grown men. It's not so much about speed either for backs coming out of college, and Bucky Irving was not one of the fastest running backs in this draft class for sure. It's about the ability to make you miss that matters. And with 42 forced missed tackles this year, which ranks in Pro Football Focus's top 10 in that category, Bucky Irving does that as well as anyone. In his last year at Oregon, Irving ran for 1,180 yards and 11 touchdowns and had 5 100-yard games, including 5 runs longer than 20 yards. 3 of those runs were longer than 40 yards. And as good as Irving was in college, he's just as good in the NFL. We've already seen that. Despite splitting carries with Rachaad White, Irving should top 1,000 yards this season. He's at 852 yards, rushing with 3 games left, and he's already had more runs, over 20 yards, this year in Tampa Bay, 6, than he had last year in college. And 3 of those runs for the Bucks have been longer than 40 yards. Turns out I was right in my Week 1 Pewter Pulse prediction. Lo and behold, Irving has supplanted White as the Bucks' primary ball carrier. Irving is averaging 5.6 yards a carry. That's tied with Detroit's Jahmyr Gibbs, and behind only Philly's Saquon Barkley at 5.9 and Baltimore's Derrick Henry at 5.8. Irving just has superior vision, tackle breaking and tackle slipping ability, and the knack for making defenders miss. That's not to say that White doesn't bring value to the Buccaneers. Rachaad White most certainly does. He's a good runner in a gap scheme. He's an elite receiver, and evidenced by his 6 receiving touchdowns. You know, he's also one of the best pass protectors, too. We have to give him credit for that. But there is something special about this kid from the south side of Chicago. Tampa Bay has always been a blue-collar fan base that has appreciated the tough running style of the A-Train Mike Allstott, who is also from the Chicago area. And you guys, the Bucks fan base, you always appreciate the underdog too. And there's no bigger underdog back in the history of this team than little Warwick Dunn, the 5'9", 187-pound speedster with uncanny toughness from Florida State. And now the Bucks have another underdog back in Bucky Irving, who has brought some of that Chicago toughness to Tampa Bay. Bucky is the ultimate absolute dog running the ball in Tampa Bay. Rachaad White is entering a contract year in 2025, and I expect him to have a really good season in this run scheme with Tampa Bay's incredible offensive line. Opening up holes for him, White has increased his average from 3.7 yards per carry last year to 4.2 yards per carry this year. But Bucky Irving has averaged that astonishing 5.6 yards per carry, and he's been a model of consistency since week one. Irving has had 10 games where he's averaged at least 4.9 yards per carry or more. And he's shown toughness in fighting through a toe injury, as well as hip and back injuries as well. What the Bucs love about Bucky Irving isn't necessarily his production. That's kind of a given because of his Oregon tape. He's that guy in Tampa Bay that he was on tape at Oregon. It's the fact that he's the first one in the building as a rookie. He watches film. He spends extra time in practice with Kyle Trask, the backup quarterback, going over his plays after he's already completed a practice. Despite being a rookie, Irving is a professional and taking his craft seriously. Irving even cut off his dreads at the end of training camp because all that hair was too hot to deal with in the Florida heat and humidity. And cutting it off helped him better deal with those conditions and made him less fatigued. Bucky's always looking for that edge to get better. Irving is as team first of a guy as you could imagine, and he doesn't seek out fame or notoriety. Here's some inside scoop for you. It was like pulling teeth to get Bucky Irving to do the Bucs training camp diary series for Pewter Report this summer. I came to find out that Bucky really didn't even want to do it, but his agent wanted him to do it to get him some more exposure. That's okay. Bucky is all about playing football. I picked up on that pretty quickly. And he doesn't want to really talk about it in the media. And that's very respectable. The last 1,000-yard rusher the Bucs had was in 2015. It was Doug Martin, whose NFL career was promising, but ultimately and unfortunately cut short due to substance abuse issues. Irving needs 148 yards over the next 3 games, and then he will be the next 1,000-yard rusher in Tampa Bay. You don't have to worry about this kid. He's already a pro's pro. He gets it. And Bucky Irving is doing things as a rookie that neither Mike Allstott nor Warwick Dunn did. And that's exciting. It's exciting to see what the future holds for Bucky Irving and the Bucs. He's just getting started. Well, we're wrapping up the season here at Pewter Report and Pewter Report TV and pewterreport.com, but there's still plenty of football left. So we encourage you to check out our videos at Pewter Report TV. Hit the subscribe button and make sure you check out my Pewter Pulse episodes, our Pewter Report podcast, Pewter Pregame, Pewter Game Day. We have tons of Pewter Report content. The Josh Capo, Bucs, all 22 breakdowns, great content there. So make sure you visit Pewter Report TV, hit the subscribe button, and join the over 16,500 fans who've done so. Make sure you follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. And please visit the mothership, pewterreport.com, our website, where we have tons of Bucs content and stories every single day, all the way through the offseason, where we'll be tackling Bucs free agency and the Bucs draft and maybe finding the next Bucky Irving for this Tampa Bay team. I'll be back soon with a new Pewter Pulse. Until then, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.